Chosen one. Listen, not because you have time, but because what is being said now will not pass through this hour twice. God is doing something today that he has never done, not in any generation that came before, not through any name written in the books you were taught to revere. And the reason, the singular, specific, unrepeatable reason, is the configuration of breath and longing and unwitnessed faithfulness that has been quietly arranged inside your one life. He has been waiting for someone whose tenderness had survived. Many did not survive their waiting. You did. You bent. You did not harden. You questioned. You kept asking. That is the qualification, not certainty, not polish. The one who almost gave up last week is the one he chose. There is a door in his hand that no key has ever fit. Type chosen in the comments, not because you are certain, but because you are still here, and still being here, after everything, is the only qualification that was ever required. Until now, you are the key, and the impossible is not arriving to overwhelm you. It is arriving exactly the right size, measured to your particular grain, cut to fit no other life. So stay here. The room around you is more sacred than it appears. He has just walked in. What is being said in this hour is not motivation. It is recognition. By the end of this message, you will know exactly why this season has been unlike anything you have ever walked through. You will be handed a specific practice, 7 words long, 21 days deep, to hold what is being formed in you. And there will be a sealing. It begins as a thinning of the dark before any voice names what is happening. That is what is happening inside you right now. The dark has not been dismantled with fanfare. It has been thinning, slowly, quietly, for longer than you realized. The years that no one watched. The prayers that seemed to fall into a room with no echo. The nights you cried so quietly that even the people sleeping in the next room did not know. He saw all of it, not the way you saw it, the way it actually was. You have been carrying something specific, not a generic weight, not a wound that matches the templates the world handed you. And because no one named it correctly, you began to wonder if you were imagining it. You were not. The reason no one in your life has had the eyes to see it is that the eyes that could see it had not yet been given out. Until now, there is a kind of loneliness that comes from carrying an unnamed thing. It is heavier than ordinary loneliness, because it cannot even be confessed. You cannot describe what is missing. You only know that something has been missing for a very long time, and that no relationship, no achievement, no rest has filled it. That ends here tonight. What has been unnamed gets a name. What is yours to receive in the next 40 minutes deserves to be named, so that staying with me through this hour becomes a deliberate choice and not a passive scroll. By the time we reach the final breath of this message, you will have received 3 layers of revelation that explain why this season has been unlike any other you have walked through. You will hear a word from the original Hebrew that no English translation has been able to carry, a single word that will reframe every year you ever called delay. You will meet 2 figures from sacred history whose stories were written quietly for the day you would find them. And there will be a final activation, a sealing, that I am asking you to receive in stillness with me. None of this is rushed. None of this is small. Stay until the last breath. The hour does not give itself to those who leave early. What is being formed in you has already begun to make itself visible. Quiet patterns you have probably noticed but did not have language for. Listen for them now. The first one is the way feelings have been arriving in you without permission. You will be in the middle of an ordinary moment, washing a dish, driving home from somewhere familiar, and a wave will pass through you that has no story attached. Sometimes peace, sometimes sorrow, sometimes a conviction so strong you almost speak it aloud. This is not mood swing. This is your spirit surfacing what was buried, so it can finally be released. Another is the way the rooms you used to sit in comfortably have become unbearable. The conversations that once filled you now drain you within 10 minutes. The places you used to belong to feel like costumes that no longer fit. You have not become difficult. Something in you has simply outgrown the smallness of where you were standing, and the body knows before the mind does. You have been mistaking this for becoming hard to please. He has been calling it becoming ready. There is also a quiet restlessness underneath everything you do. There is a thing you want to make, a thing you want to write down, a thing you want to say. You cannot name it yet, only that it is pressing up from underneath like something alive in soil that has decided this is the season to break the surface. This is not anxiety. This is the assignment knocking on the inside of the door. You walk into a room and feel what is wrong before anyone speaks. You sense a decision is about to be made about you, and the email arrives 3 days later. This is not coincidence accumulating. This is the gift you suppressed in childhood, waking back up, because the season requires it, and the timing. The convergence of timing, the right person appearing in the exact week you needed them. The door opening in the precise hour you finally stop trying to force it. You are not making this up. The architecture beneath your life is shifting, and the seams are showing on purpose. A pause here, just for one breath. I want to acknowledge something simple. You have been listening for several minutes already, and your attention has not wandered. That is not a small thing. The world is loud. Your time is finite. The fact that you are still here means something specific is being recognized between us, not by accident. If something in you just said yes to that, tap the like button, not as engagement, as confirmation that you chose to stay and that choosing matters. Just breathe. Once, slowly. There is no instruction in this breath, no technique to perform. Just notice that you are here, that something inside you has chosen to stay, and that what comes next is being said because of who you are, not in spite of it. There are 3 things being formed in you right now that have no historical precedent, 3 layers of truth that are about to be opened, one inside the other, until you arrive at the deepest one. The first is what I am about to give you next. It is the smallest of the 3, and yet it will already begin to undo the framework you have been using to measure your own life. What you have been calling delay, he has been calling exactness. Hear that again? What you have been calling delay, he has been calling exactness. The years you thought were wasted were not wasted. They were calibration. The doors that closed were not punishment. They were redirection of a kind, so precise, no human strategy could have produced it. The relationships that did not last were not failures. They were the wrong shape for what you are about to carry, and any one of them, kept too long, would have prevented this hour from being possible. Type exactness in the comments, in place of every time you have called it delay, every year, every closed door, every relationship that did not last. Let the right word finally stand where the wrong one has been standing. Long ago, there was a woman named Hannah, whose only wound was the silence of her own womb. She wept in the temple so deeply that the priest watching her thought she was drunk. She had no children, no inheritance to give the world, no answer to the question every other woman around her had already received. And what she did not know, in the years of her weeping, was that the child she would eventually carry was not just a child. It was a prophet, whose voice would change the direction of an entire nation. The waiting was not denial. The waiting was not at exactly the right intensity. You are her, not in metaphor, in structure. The slowness of your season is not failure. It is the time required for something this rare to be cut to its proper grain. If you had received what you asked for 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you would have received it as the version of yourself who could not yet hold it. The version of you that exists now, the one that has been bent and not broken, questioned and not silenced, postponed and not abandoned, is the only version capable of carrying what is about to arrive. There is someone still in Hannah's years, still weeping into a silence that has no echo, still carrying something rare without anyone to name it correctly, still wondering if they are imagining it. They have not yet arrived at this sentence. If this word just names something you have been carrying alone, the link is in the description and the pinned comment. A coffee, a seed, a place in this community. Bring their name with you when you go. The one still in the waiting. What was given to you in this hour? A name for what you carried. A name for what was never supposed to remain nameless. Does not stop with you. It travels into every silence that still has no words for what it carries. Slowness is not your enemy. Slowness is the apprenticeship, but this is only the surface. The truth I just gave you is the small one, the first of three. What waits beneath it will undo every framework you have used to measure your life. What waits beneath it has a name in a language older than English, and once you hear that name spoken, you will not be able to call your past what you used to call it. What waited beneath that first truth is older than the language we have for it. There is a name beneath the dawn, and it has been listening for yours. What you have just heard about delay being exactness is true, but it is not the deepest layer of what is happening inside you. There is a second truth, and the second truth is the one that begins to expose why this season has felt like nothing else you have ever lived through. The first revelation tells you why the slowness was not betrayal. The second revelation tells you what the slowness was preparing. It was not preparing an improvement. That is the part most teachers will never name correctly, because most teachers are still inside the framework of upgrade. They speak of the next version of you, the better version, the healed version, the breakthrough version. As if what God is doing in this hour is putting you through a refinement that polishes what already existed. He is not polishing. He is not improving. He is not editing. He is doing something the world does not have words for in its English vocabulary. There is a word for it in the original Hebrew, and that word is older than every translation that has come after it. And once you hear it, you will not be able to unhear how it changes everything you have been told about who you are becoming. What is being worked into you in the wilderness years deserves to be seen first. The word will arrive when its preparation is complete. There are three things that have been formed in you that no one, including you, was able to see while it was happening. The first thing being formed was the preservation of your tenderness. While the world hardened around you, while the people you trusted disappointed you, while the systems you depended on failed, something inside you was being protected from becoming what was happening to you. It will have felt like weakness. It will have felt like being naive, like being too soft for a hard world. Do not interpret it as that. It was not weakness. It was the only material the assignment could be built out of. Being kept intact at the cost of everything else, the trusting in you that survived was not a flaw. It was the qualification. The second thing being formed was the training of your discernment. In silence, the years where you could not hear clearly, where you wondered if you were even being spoken to, were not abandonment. They were the years where the voice of God was being separated, in your hearing, from the voice of fear, the voice of the crowd, and the voice of your own ambition. You will have called it dryness. You will have called it dark night. He was teaching you to recognize him without the comfort of obvious signs, so that when he finally speaks the unprecedented thing, you will know. It is him, and not your own hope, filling in the blanks. The third thing being formed was the forging of exactness, not patience. That is too small a word for what was happening in you. Exactness, the ability to wait without bending the timeline, without forcing, without manufacturing your own version of the answer, just to relieve the ache. You will have felt this as paralysis, as being stuck. Do not interpret it as that, not as a label. He says, pay attention to the verbs. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? The word translated as new in that sentence is not what you think it is. In English, the word new has been worn out by usage. It can mean newer than what came before. It can mean fresh out of the box. It can mean the latest model. None of those carry the weight of what the original Hebrew is saying. The Hebrew word is chadash, and chadash does not just mean new in time. It means never previously existing. It means fresh from the origin source. It means a thing that has no precedent, because the precedent could not have produced it. It is the word used when something arrives that the existing categories cannot contain. Hear what that does to the sentence. He is not saying, I am giving you an upgraded version of what you had before. He is saying, what I am doing now has never been done in any age. It is not improved. It is unprecedented. Subscribe now and turn on the bell. What is being released through this channel is not content on a schedule. It is words that wait for the right hour to surface. Do not let the algorithm decide whether the next one reaches you. Stay in the pipeline. That is the truth waiting beneath the first one. What is being formed in you is chadash. It is not the better version of who you used to be. It is something the categories of your past life cannot describe, and the people who only know you by the categories of your past life will not be able to recognize at first. They will need time. The thing being released through you has no template, and you are the first life it is being released through. Type chadash in the comments. Because what is being formed in you has never existed before, not in any version of you that came before this one. The word just named it. Let the naming be made official. Long after Hannah, in another small town, in another woman who had no platform and no inheritance and no reason in the world to be the one chosen, an angel arrived at the door of a teenager named Mary. He told her she would carry something that had never been carried before, not by any other woman in any other generation since the world began. What is striking about Mary is what qualified her. It was not her education. It was not her social position. It was not even her certainty about how the thing would happen. The qualification was a single sentence. She finally spoke. Let it be unto me according to your word. That is the qualification, not capability. It does not require you to know what to call it. Not her plan. Not her plan overseas. Not from having figured it out. From the same place, Mary went from the place of simply saying, let it be. What you release from that place does not leave your hands empty. Your yes multiplies. It becomes the permission someone else is still waiting to receive, the voice that tells them their agreement is enough. This season is full of preparation that you cannot see from inside it. It is full of architecture being built underground. It is full of divine newness that has no analog anywhere in your past and no template waiting in the future to copy from. But even this is not the deepest layer. There is one more truth waiting beneath this one. And when it is named, every assumption you ever made about why you, why now, why this configuration of life, every framework you use to measure your assignment will not survive contact with it. Stay here for one breath with me. What you have just heard is not small. Most messages do not name the unnamed thing inside their listeners. Most messages stay on the surface because the surface is easier to package and easier to sell. The fact that you have stayed through this depth, through these revelations, through the slowness of how I am giving them to you, that is not nothing. That is recognition meeting its mirror. Just breathe once and let what has landed continue settling. Type I receive because you are still here. And still being here through all of this is your agreement. What I am about to name in the next breath, you should hear directly without veils, without me building mystery, just to sell something to you. At the end of the hour, truth honors truth. Let what is real be named before another minute passes. There is a reason I have been speaking to you about the years that dimmed something inside you, about the silencing of the child who once lived in this body without fear, about the tightness that has lived in the background of your decisions for as long as you can remember. What dimmed has a name. What hijacked your reception of what was already promised has a name too. They are two separate things. They require two separate restorations. The waking of the child first, the opening of the channel second. That is the order. The order matters. You have been asking the wrong question for a very long time. The question has been, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why am I the one who carries this? Why does my path look so different from everyone around me? Why has the timeline of my life refused to follow the shape of any timeline I was promised? Hear me. Why me has never been the right question. The right question is why now? And the answer to why now is the layer that recontextualizes every revelation that came before it. There is something that almost stopped this revelation from reaching you. It is not what you are imagining. It is not a force outside of you. It is something quieter. And it has been with you since you were small enough to still believe what you were told about yourself. It is the belief that you are not the kind of person this happens to. Send this to the person whose face just appeared in your mind when you read that sentence. The one who has been carrying something unnamed, the one still convinced they are not the kind of person this happens to. You do not need to say anything, just send it. Heaven already knows which room this needs to find next. Type it is Chadash, because what is happening in you today has no precedent. No previous version of you could have received it. No earlier hour could have held it. It is new in the way that has no translation, and you are the first life it is moving through.